Thank you for tuning in to watch our Invest Greater Boston launch conference. You're about to watch panel number 3, Tech Influence, how technology is changing the banking sector. Enjoy.
Well, thank you, Invest Boston, for the opportunity to present our next panel, which will focus on how technology and the digital transformation is reshaping the financial and business landscape. I'm President and CEO of the Massachusetts Bankers Association. There are more than 6,000 trade associations in the United States, and these are organizations that leverage the insights and actions of their members, as together they are stronger than any one organization can be on their own. And I venture to say that everyone in this room is a member of an organization that brings collective strength that makes you and your organization better. And that's why the Massachusetts Bankers Association is here. Our members are FDIC-insured institutions that include community, regional, and large institutions with a presence in the United States and internationally. And some of our members are on the panel. Some of our 120 members are on the next panel that will be introduced shortly. So our association was founded in Boston 120 years ago. And many of our member banks were in existence long before our founding. In fact, one bank here is celebrating its 200th anniversary next year. Another is 190 years old this year. Another is 132 years old. Another is 196 years old. There is no way, those are banks that are just in this room. There's no way that a bank or any of our members could be relevant today without innovating and evolving as the needs of their clients and communities have evolved. So we continue as an association to have a proactive focus on exceptional solutions, advocacy, and thought leadership that propels our members' success in a rapidly changing world. So why does that matter to all of you here today? Well, in a recent meeting, I was in New York City, and Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan Chase, was speaking, and he was talking about what energizes him to do his job in leading the nation's largest bank. And he said when he opens the Wall Street Journal every day, he's reminded that every story he reads and every organization or invention that's discussed has a financial institution as a partner that helped them along the way. So that's the same here in Massachusetts, where banks are community leaders and industry partners with nonprofit organizations, serving on hospital foundations, working with developers, as you just heard, also serving on boards and higher educational institutions and as benefactors, supporting the life sciences industry, and of course, engaged in what Abby called this unparalleled innovation ecosystem in Boston. So a definition of chaos is when the world outside is moving faster than it is inside. Innovation is key today. And innovation is not new in Massachusetts. In fact, nationally, there were many firsts here in the Commonwealth. It was here that the very first commercial bank was created. It was here in Massachusetts that the first savings bank was created in the nation. Ours was the first state to allow regional banks that banks could provide services to their clients across state lines. And ours was also the first to create what was called then an on-demand savings account so that fortunes could be created. And as more recently, just 4 years ago, our members worked with, and the association worked with the State Office of Labor and Workforce Development to create the first nationally recognized apprenticeship program for credit analysts. These are really important people in the commercial lending pipeline that help make these deals happen. And this program requires 150 hours of classroom training and 2,000 hours on the job training to become these credit analysts. And that's just one role within the banking industry. Other important roles that people don't often think about are technologists, data analysts, fraud prevention professionals, and cybersecurity professionals, those who are leveraging artificial intelligence, marketing professionals, human resource and people leaders, lenders, and those that provide consumer services. Well, we as an association are helping our members to build and strengthen their innovation cultures through experiential learning opportunities that are available for the 70,000 professionals in our industry here in Massachusetts. And we're doing that by tapping into the innovation resources here in the Commonwealth. We have a long-standing partnership with the Mass FinTech Hub. And next week, we will be announcing to our members new relationships with other accelerators that exist here in Massachusetts, and that will be launched in 2025. And as you will hear in the next panel, to be relevant today, innovation is an imperative. And so it is now my pleasure to welcome our next panel to the stage. Our moderator, Chris MacKenzie, growth leader, LGA LLP, and the panelists, Joe Campanelli, Chairman, President of Needham Bank, Brian Bailey, President and CEO of Hebert Savings Bank, Daniel Griggs, President of the Greater Boston region for OceanFirst Bank, and Kristin VanBeek, President and CEO of Rockland Federal Credit Union. Please join me in welcoming the panel.
First of all, I want to thank Capital Analytics. Everything with this Invest Boston event was spectacular. Alex, Ryan, thank you for bringing this community together. And I was always thinking about this, right? And using technology. And first of all, but we all look the same and we work for old institutions. Sorry. I'm going to start out from a technology standpoint. I'm going to open up with a joke. Why did the banker cross the technology road? So I got back the answer from Chad to update their interest in innovation. I'm like, that's not that funny. Make it funny. So I asked the question again, why did the banker cross the technology road? Because that's where the cloud was, and they needed to make a deposit. Not that funny. So much for that. Anyways, my name is Chris MacKenzie. I work at LGA CPAs and Business Advisors. I came out of retirement 4.5 months ago because, being here energizes me. LGA is a New England's independent leading CPA firm providing services to all managed businesses and their owners throughout the Midland. And, we're part of the No. We are. All right. Well, good. We are part of, the ecosystem that drives innovation. So when you think about Boston, we think about life science, tech, construction, financial services, professional services, and clearly, in financial services, we have 3 icons that we're going to have a really good conversation with today. So before we start, let's please introduce yourselves.
Thank you. My name is Kristin VanBeek. I'm President and CEO of Rockland Federal Credit Union, not to be confused with Rockland Trust, which happens on a daily basis. I'm very excited to be here. We are historically a $3 billion cooperative on the South Shore of Massachusetts. However, we're kind of coming out of our shell, and so we're moving to the North Shore, Boston, local area as well. So, a lot of change going on there. And, from a technology perspective, I learned kind of recovering CIO. So I was a CIO that they let become a CEO, which is relatively rare in our industry, but something I think that's becoming more of a trend these days.
Great, thank you. Joe Campanelli, President and CEO of Needham Bank. I've been in a banking saying not 130 years, but for quite some time, or decades and whatnot. Originally grew up in Hartford, Connecticut. Went to school at Babson and realized I'm in Boston at Oliver. And really came here because innovation, creativity, and really, it's one of the most, I think, one of the best banking markets in the country, but candidly, just given the diversification and whatnot. We recently converted from Mutual Bank and became a public entity, just continue to support our growth and innovation.
So Ryan Bailey, President of Hebert Savings Bank. We're a $7 billion, 190-year-old organization that Kathleen mentioned, and I'm joined here by a great leadership team here in the back.
Good morning, everyone. Dan Griggs, I'm Regional President for OceanFirst Bank here in Boston. While we're approximately a $14 billion institution, originally out of New Jersey, but about a decade ago, we expanded with commercial banking centers in New York, Philly, Boston 40 years ago, Baltimore, and DC. And our team is entirely Boston Bank-based bankers who have been after.
All right, so this first question is for all four of you, but maybe we'll narrow it down to two. So maybe it won't become repetitive. Boston's financial sector has a rich legacy, yet it's clear that our industry is undergoing transformation due to rapid technological advances. From your perspectives, what are some of the most significant changes you've observed within Massachusetts banking landscape that have set the stage for increased innovation in lending and financial services? Guys, get that question?
Yeah, my question.
It's one question with 17 boxes.
Obviously, there's a lot here, but I think at a most basic level, I think you mentioned just a little bit earlier, but the fintech hub, the incubators, the accelerators, and we're rated at Boston How, it certainly makes it a lot easier to partner with cutting edge new technology that's applicable to the financial services market. Two simple ones that come to mind in recent times for me is Posh AI. It's here in Boston. It's a number of MIT students that got together, created a small AI company, and partnered with a bunch of local financial institutions. It's been wildly successful. And I think a great example of that kind of mutual success, across the academic world into the financial services world. Another one that I was very involved with and on the board of both of these is Dora Financial. And you think about our world today, some of these are quasi, startup banks, the idea of a credit, in this case, a group of credit is coming together and kind of creating a chime alternative, a true cooperative. And so if you check out Dora Financial, it's a Spanish first checking solution, and it offers all kinds of features that many of us strive to offer today. So there's a banking/trading background to it, but fintechs really kind of took the lead in terms of a frictionless front end.
I'll take a stab at this too. So from my perspective and our perspective, commercial banking is a relationship-driven industry. It's face-to-face, how we can be value-added. So how do you take technology and innovation and apply it, if you will, to commercial banking? It's really behind the scenes. How can we underwrite and approve a document loans quicker? How can we provide commercial banking services more efficiently and effectively and less expensive? That's how we're looking at applying that. Then that's a win-win for the customer as well as the.
Great, thank you. Next question. This is for all as well, and maybe limited again to two in the interest of time. Boston's financial sector has a rich legacy, yet it's clear that our industry is undergoing transformation due to rapid technological advancements. From your perspective, what are some of the most significant changes you observed in Massachusetts banking landscape that have set the stage for increased innovation in lending and financial services? I just asked that question, didn't I? Okay. Anyone else would like to comment on that?
Yeah, that's not happening.
Well, let me do this one instead. I've been in practice in doing this for 4.5 months. Did I let you know that? This is also for everyone. AI is transforming not only processes, but also decision-making at strategic and operational levels. What are the most exciting and perhaps unexpected applications of AI have you encountered within your institutions, and how do you envision its role involving in financial services in the next 5 years?
I kind of look at AI as a blessing and a curse, right? You play offense and defense. It can do things so much better, faster, cheaper, but you still have to worry about hallucinations. I really emphasize how critical that integrity is. But I'm an old school bank. I miss the day so around with bank with no the mask. Because now they're online all the time. You look at it, voice recognition tools, multi-factor authentications. I don't know if anyone ever gone on a dark web. I don't think around there, but if you go in there, it is scary. Everything's in sale. You even on how to rob a bank, cyber crypto issues and whatnot. So on one hand, we're playing defense, making sure that the fraudsters aren't one step ahead of us. And on the other hand, we're looking at ways we can use AI to do things in a more efficient manner. And I think Dan mentioned we're still in relationship business. So I do believe it's a convergence of high tech with high touch.
And I'll just add a couple of things that Joe said is fraudsters are already using it to try to beat our system, especially in the fraud department. The term that we use, that machine learning AI to combat them, look at trends, so we can combat that. It's another area that we use it internally that I find to help to promote It's actually our calling. We treat every customer like they're their only customer. So we want our call centers to have that information at their fingertips. So we use it today to identify our customers. And actually, as they ask questions, AI is already filling our agents' platforms. We have 30-something systems that pull this together so we can take care of our customers almost immediately with AI.
Okay, thank you. Hey, Joe, this question's for you. Needham Bank has broadened its focus to support middle market businesses and nonprofits while staying true to its relationship-driven approach. How has this shift influenced your tech strategy, and are there specific tools that help balance innovation with the personal touch that sets you apart?
Thanks. It's a great question. It's really a bit more of our kind of DNA. But I'm a believer that everything can change dramatically with technology, whether it's healthcare, financial services, learning, everything is impacted by it, and we fully embrace it. And I think the biggest thing we start right from the get-go is embrace change. If we're doing something today the same way we did it 5 years ago, chances are we're doing it wrong, just giving more efficiencies that are there. But not losing our roots that relationships really do matter, but how do we enhance customer experience by using technology to do things in a more efficient manner? And I think we're still at the very early innings of the game when we look at the impact of blockchain technology and others. And what we call an API environment, we rely on a lot of vendors. And we actually have to work with those vendors as if they're part of us to make sure that we're getting the customized solutions we want without creating vulnerabilities.
So, Joe, just a follow-up on that. Given the role that you're in leading Needham, how far down the road can you look with respect to technology?
It's hard because right now we're really grappling with the early stages of the application, call centers and things like that, but the power is so much more significant. But it's always more in those areas of vulnerability. So every time we put a new application, that interface becomes vulnerable to fraud and corruption and issues and whatnot. So we're working really hard. It used to be, you look at 1 or 2 years, now we'll look at 3 to 5 years because the rate of change, the level of investment is so significant, and it's constantly evolving.
And security is going to be top of mind for all 4 of you like that. Brian, you mentioned that for a 190-year-old institution, staying agile is essential to success. With that in mind, how do you plan to build Cambridge Savings Bank digital capabilities, especially with Ivy Bank, while preserving its community-focused approach?
Yes, first of all, Cambridge Savings Bank is a mutual bank, so we're not shareholder owned. The money that we generate and report back into the community. So it's very important to always stay community focused, and we're going to do that. Now, the reason why we have Ivy Bank, the national bank, we gather deposits in 49 other states. When I look at that as an enabler for the community bank, what we do is get those deposits nationally and we lend them locally. So it actually further enables us community bank to lend in the community we serve.
Yeah, we don't have too many community-focused banks nowadays, or some have got mutual banks with all the demutualization and going public and so forth that has taken place over the years. Chris, it's my bud sitting next to me. In your interview with Invest, you highlighted the importance of technology in your operations. How do you envision the core system conversion in 2025 transforming member interactions and overall service delivery?
Sure. Well, at its base level, and the idea of a core conversion, you're really thinking about that as the foundation. And I think many of us, the bankers in the room, have struggled with our providers, whether it's Fiserv or related, that, kind of historically had legacy systems and limited access to data and number information. Bottom line, leapfrogging all of your systems, specifically the core, to a new modern system that allows the institution to access their systems, and was said earlier, APIs, truly partnering with fintech, truly partnering with community organizations, really key, and not having that handcuff behind your back and say, well, we're not able to do that right now because of X. So it puts us in control of our own destination. I think, going forward, whether it's mobile banking, AI, data analytics, having modern architecture, not only is the right place to be for the financial institution, but it's also what employees are looking for. It's hard to hire an IT person and say, well, we're on this 40-year-old legacy system. They don't want to work on that. They want to work on the latest and greatest. So I think fundamentally what Rockland's doing today is that foundation, and will be an enabler to us to accelerate growth and making a bigger difference, having more member value. going forward in all of our segments, whether it's retail, commercial, illegal. And moving from a legacy system to new age system, if you will, how long of a process? How long does that take? It's a great question. In terms of the analysis and truly finding a new system, it's a lot harder than you might think. And a lot of legacy systems they do the flashy process where they show you these front end screens, but when you dig behind those, they're really old technology. So to truly find that new technology takes a couple of years, and then once you make that decision, it takes a year to implement. And I think for us, we're 6 to 9 months out, but all the decisions have been made, and we're very comfortable with the partners. And we're just doing the exercises to make the converting seamless. And finally on this, because I'm a trade buyer, the impact of your bank moving in that direction, it will get there in 6 months. What's the competitive advantage? When you look at your friends on stage, your friends out in the audience, what's going to give you that one up that they may not have, right? If they have not moved into that new regime of technology. I think it goes back to the two things I kind of referenced before. One of them is the partnerships. So finding, the fintechs out there and be able to say yes and not having, the handcuffs on to say, I need to get my vendor to write an interface to this other party. I mean, that's a common problem for a lot of financial institutions and never have to do that anymore. Our own teams can make that difference. I think the other part of it, though, really is the people. And, I think of myself, for example, as, a people-first technologist. And all that really means is that, there are companies out there that do technology for technology's sake. And if we're not empowering our frontline staff, if we're not, trying to make a difference for our members, then why do the technology? It really has to have an impact. And so if you look at it, I kind of compare it to Apple. It's what is the interface that they're using, what our members are going to be using to engage with us. We want that to be incredibly seamless. And there's some great partners out there, some great AI out there to reduce that friction, to make it really simple. Maybe you need 3, 4, 5 bits of information, and you're going to have an account. You're going to have a loan.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And Dan, OceanFirst was recently acknowledged by Moody's rating with an investment grade rating. How does this reflect continued strength of the bank, and what role has played in enhancing your digital capabilities at OceanFirst?
Well, I think first, we're truly proud and excited about investment grade rating. It's just a reflection of our strength of capital, our strength of credit quality, and our deposit diversity. What it means for our customers, and particularly as we expand it geographically, we don't have a retail bricks and mortar, so we weren't as well known. So that gives comfort to our clients that we have the strength and capacity where deposits are protected. And when we'll make a credit commitment, that will be able to back it up. Then secondly, just as importantly, moving into digital capability, we don't have branches in Boston. We don't have branches in DC. We don't have branches in Baltimore. Our investment in technology innovation, in particularly treasury management, cash management, allows us to do that. Our CFOs have everything they need at the touch of a computer monitor. So that's what allowed us to expand geographically without branches.
So less brick and mortar, or will it be brick and mortar on the way?
Less brick and mortar.
Got it. Thank you. All right, this is the final question, and we just barely touched upon it, and would love to hear what your banks are doing. And this is the area of blockchain. So we all know that blockchain offers transparency and security, especially in transactions and data sharing. What do you see as the biggest potential of using blockchain within your institution, and what's been your experience in evaluating or implementing blockchain so far?
Well, it's interesting. Blockchain gets a bad rap, I think, because of Bitcoin and some cryptocurrencies. When you think about blockchain, it's got great auditability and control of the data. We talked earlier about AI is only as good as the data it's using. So I think ultimately blockchain will provide that distributed ledger, so to speak. It's hard to get your arms around it because I think we all grew up in a hierarchy with things roll up, point case, and then the having general subsidiary ledgers, et cetera. blockchain, you just think of it as the platform, it's not the platform, it's distributed ledger that allows for great accountability, great tracking, fantastic encryption capabilities, but it's only as good as the vulnerabilities when they interact with the different ecosystem. So we're doing a lot of work around how do we isolate certain databases that we know can't be contaminated, and then use those to provide analytics into the libraries and things. But it's a journey, and it's not like converting your core, which you've got a mission in place, but certain applications, and then incorporating that with how we use AI, whether it's a call center solution or just a lower decision, but making sure that all the data is sound before so you avoid a hallucination type effect.
Well, interesting. Again, the age of the bank's been around for a while, and you think about technology and the role that technology plays in transforming your organizations and how you're all embracing it. I think it's fascinating. It's streamlining, and there's a lot of tough decisions that has to be made along the way. And anybody else any thoughts on it?
Just like a couple of quick things. I mean, I look at, financial institutions. We have, as highly regulated institutions, we have three superpowers. We have the ability to make loans, we have the ability to take deposits, and we have the ability to transact. But I feel like blockchain at this point in time, even though it's been around a while, is still in its infancy, which really has been focused simply on the transaction piece. And I think the real interesting part is when it goes to that next level. So in other words, a mortgage, a loan, and the idea of using blockchain to streamline, a mortgage process. And I'm sure many of you in this room have gone through, the closing for a mortgage, and gotten to the point where we have all these documents, we don't even read them anymore because it would take 2 days to close on a mortgage if we actually read the documents. So I think blockchain offers the ability to really do some special things to streamline that lending process. And I think the same is true ultimately in the longer term on the deposit side. So, I think we're still as financial institutions focused on blockchain for the transaction, the payment side, but there's a lot more to come over the coming years. And I think regulation simply has to catch up in order to make that real.
And I'll just end with a couple of things, thoughts that I have in technology. If you'd asked me 5 years ago, can banks our size compete with trillion-dollar banks? And what's up there, $1 trillion? So we have trillion-dollar banks in the room. If you'd asked me 5 years ago, can you compete out of technology? My answer on it probably told you it's going to be really hard when they're spending $5 billion a year just in digital. But what's really happened, I think one of Chris's point is there's so many partnerships, fintechs out there. We can create great middle layers, create great partnerships that the community banks and other banks out there that aren't trillion-dollar banks now can compete. So we're really excited about the evolution of the technology.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, we are the final act of the day. So I'll pass it back on to you, Alex.